Hey there, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're all about practical wisdom.
Oh,
Those
nice.
nuggets of advice that just never get old.
Timeless.
Yeah, timeless. They're as relevant today as they were centuries ago. And today, we're diving into 10 rules for better living.
All right.
And I have to say, these aren't your typical self-help platitudes.
Yeah, what's fascinating is how these rules address challenges that feel so amplified in our world today,
Right.
with the fast pace and everything.
Okay, it's really relevant.
Let's unpack this. Rule number one
It-
is all about stopping worry.
Mhm.
I know. Easier said than done, right?
Right.
But get this. The ancient Egyptians
Oh, wow.
considered worry a cardinal sin. What do you make of that?
I think it really highlights how debilitating worry can be.
Yeah,
And it's not about ignoring problems or
Right.
pretending everything's fine.
right.
It's about recognizing that difference between thoughtful planning
Hmm.
and unproductive anxiety.
Yeah.
Planning is about problem solving.
Hmm.
Worry just keeps you stuck.
Have you ever felt that?
In a loop?
Yeah, that sense of dread,
Yeah.
that tightening in your chest,
Oh, absolutely.
where worry just takes over and paralyzes you. The source material says this kind of worry can actually impact your health,
Oh, yeah?
your relationships, even your ability to make good decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we're consumed by worry, we're not truly present.
Right?
We're not able to connect with others or
Yeah.
engage with the world in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to a whole cascade of negative consequences.
So how do we break free from this worry cycle? The source suggests confronting problems head on rather than letting them fester.
Yeah.
It's about taking action, even if it's just a small step.
It's about shifting from a passive state of fear
Mm-hmm.
to an active state of empowerment.
I love that.
Remember that saying?
Yeah.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Right.
That's the essence of this rule. I love that shift in perspective. Instead of letting fear control us, we can use it as fuel to propel us forward.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our agency and choosing courage over paralysis.
Now, this next rule is all about boundaries and respect.
Okay.
Rule number 2, stop trying to dominate and possess your friends and relatives.
Mm.
Think about a time when someone tried to control your decisions. How did it make you feel?
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This rule encourages us to examine our own tendencies towards control and manipulation, both in our relationships with others and with ourselves.
It's so easy to fall into patterns of trying to manage or fix the people we care about, right?
Right.
But the source material says this can actually backfire
Oh, absolutely.
and create more unhappiness for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to control outcomes, it's about fostering an environment of respect and acceptance,
Right.
allowing others the space to learn and grow at their own pace.
And as you mentioned earlier, this applies to our relationship with ourselves as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Do we allow ourselves the freedom to be who we truly are, to pursue our passions, to make mistakes and learn from them?
Yeah.
Or do we try to control every aspect of our lives,
Right.
leading to a sense of rigidity and inner conflict?
That's such a powerful point. Dominating tendencies can be just as harmful internally as they are externally.
Yeah,
It's about cultivating a sense of trust,
absolutely.
both in ourselves and in others,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing life to unfold naturally without the need for constant control.
Right.
Rule number 3 hits close to home,
Okay.
especially in our achievement-obsessed culture. Moderate ambition.
This rule speaks to the importance of balance.
Mhm.
It's not about abandoning our goals or settling for mediocrity.
Right.
It's about recognizing the potential pitfalls of unchecked ambition
Yeah.
and the toll it can take on our well-being.
The source material tells a story about an insurance executive who was so focused on his work that he couldn't even appreciate the beauty of art when he finally took a vacation. He was missing out on the simple joys of life because his mind was constantly preoccupied with work.
A cautionary tale
Right?
about the dangers of becoming so fixated on external success
Yeah.
that we lose sight of what truly matters. Connection, joy, peace of mind.
It's a reminder that we need to make space for things that bring us joy and fulfillment.
Yes.
Things that nourish our souls, not just our resumes.
It's about cultivating a sense of contentment and gratitude for the present moment,
Right.
rather than constantly striving for something more, something better,
Yeah.
something just out of reach.
Which brings us to rule number 4.
Okay.
Don't overaccumulate.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels so relevant in a world that constantly tells us to buy more,
Yes.
upgrade our lifestyle, and chase the next shiny object.
This rule challenges us to examine our relationship with material possessions
Yeah.
and to question the true value they bring to our lives.
The source material actually shares a story about a millionaire who lived so frugally
Really?
that he couldn't even enjoy his wealth.
Wow.
It's like he was trapped by his own fear of losing what he had accumulated.
It highlights the paradoxical nature of material wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It can provide comfort and security,
Right.
but if we become too attached to it,
Yeah.
it can become a source of anxiety and prevent us from experiencing true freedom.
It's like that saying, the best things in life aren't things. Love, connection, purpose, those are the true riches.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing the difference between accumulating possessions
Mm-hmm.
and accumulating experiences, knowledge, and wisdom.
Right.
Which brings us to our fifth rule,
Okay.
which I think is particularly relevant in our always-on,
Mm-hmm.
hyper-connected world.
Okay.
Learn to relax.
It seems counterintuitive in a culture that prizes productivity and busyness.
Right. We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us to hustle harder,
Right.
do more, be more. But the source material argues that relaxation isn't a luxury, it's a necessity.
Yeah,
It's crucial for both our physical and mental well-being.
absolutely. When we're constantly stressed and on edge,
Yeah.
it takes a toll on our bodies and minds.
Right.
We become more susceptible to illness,
Mm-hmm.
burnout, and even depression.
It's like we're running on fumes, pushing ourselves to the limit without giving ourselves time to recharge.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that when you're feeling stressed, it's harder to think clearly,
Oh, yeah.
to make good decisions,
Yeah,
even to connect with the people you care about?
absolutely.
Stress can cloud our judgment,
Yeah.
making us more reactive and
Hmm.
less able to cope with life's challenges.
It's like wearing a pair of blurry glasses.
Mm.
Everything seems distorted and out of focus.
The source material suggests that hobbies and interests outside of work can be a powerful antidote to stress.
Oh, yeah.
What are some things that help you unwind and recharge?
For me, it's about finding activities that allow me to disconnect from the digital world and engage with something tangible and creative, whether it's gardening, playing music,
Yeah.
or simply spending time in nature. Those moments of disconnection are essential for my well-being.
I love that. It's about giving ourselves permission to step away from the demands of daily life
Yeah.
and to reconnect with what brings us joy.
And it's not just about leisure activities.
Right.
It's also about making sure we're getting enough sleep,
Yeah.
eating and nourishing foods, and moving our bodies in ways that feel good.
It's about creating a lifestyle that supports our overall well-being
Absolutely.
rather than depleting it.
Which brings us to a rule that I think is often overlooked, but incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Cultivate humor.
Yes. Laughter is truly the best medicine.
It is.
But this rule goes beyond just telling jokes or watching funny movies.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a sense of humor as a way of life.
Right.
A way of navigating the inevitable challenges and absurdities of the human experience with grace and lightness.
Like.
It's about being able to laugh at ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
to find the absurdity in difficult situations,
Yeah.
and to maintain a sense of perspective even when things get tough.
Right.
Have you ever noticed how a good laugh can completely shift your mood,
Oh, for sure.
even in the midst of a stressful situation?
Absolutely.
Humor can be a powerful antidote to negativity and despair.
It can.
It can help us to reframe our perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
to connect with others,
Right.
and to find moments of joy, even in the midst of challenges.
Yeah.
It's like a pressure valve that releases tension and allows us to approach difficult situations with more creativity and flexibility.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing that life isn't always serious,
Right.
and that sometimes the best way to cope with adversity is to find the humor in it.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, on to rule number 7. Find your purpose.
Okay.
This one feels especially important in a world that often defines us by our jobs or our social media profiles.
It's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from aligning our actions with our values, with what we believe in, with what gives our lives meaning.
The source material really emphasizes that material success alone can't bring lasting happiness.
Right.
It's like we're chasing a carrot on a stick,
Yeah.
always striving for more, but never quite feeling satisfied.
It's a reminder that we need to look beyond the external markers of success
Right.
and connect with our inner compass.
Mhm.
What are we passionate about?
Yeah.
What kind of impact do we want to make on the world? What legacy do we want to leave behind?
It's about asking ourselves those big existential questions and then
Yes.
having the courage to pursue the answers.
It's about living a life of intention and purpose,
Right.
rather than simply drifting along on autopilot.
Which leads us to rule number 8,
Okay.
do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels particularly relevant in today's world where we're often bombarded with negativity and conflict, especially online.
This rule speaks to the importance of ethical conduct and compassionate living.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for others as well.
It's about choosing kindness and empathy,
Mm-hmm.
even in the face of anger, frustration, or disagreement.
How can we apply this principle to our online interactions?
Right.
How can we create a more compassionate and supportive online community,
Yeah.
even when we encounter differing viewpoints? It's about remembering that behind every screen is a human being with their own thoughts,
Right.
feelings, and experiences.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to forget the human element when we're interacting online.
Oh, yeah.
But this rule reminds us to approach those interactions with the same level of respect and consideration that we would extend to someone in person,
Right.
which leads us to rule number 9.
Yeah.
Beware of anger.
Oh, yeah.
Anger is a natural human emotion,
It is.
but it can be incredibly destructive if it's not managed effectively.
Mm-hmm.
It can damage relationships, sabotage our goals,
Yeah.
and negatively impact our well-being.
Absolutely.
The source material emphasizes that anger often stems from our own internal struggles and insecurities, rather than from the actions of others.
Right.
Have you ever noticed that when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, you're more likely to get angry about things that normally wouldn't bother you?
Oh, absolutely.
When we're feeling depleted or off balance,
Yeah.
our tolerance for frustration decreases,
Yeah.
and we're more likely to react with anger.
Right.
So how do we navigate those moments when anger feels like it's taking over?
It's about learning to recognize the early warning signs of anger and developing healthy coping mechanisms.
Right.
Taking a few deep breaths,
Yeah.
going for a walk,
Mhm.
journaling, or talking to a trusted friend can help us to diffuse those intense emotions before they escalate.
It's about taking a pause,
Mm-hmm.
creating space between the stimulus and our response,
Right.
and
Yeah.
choosing a more constructive way to express our feelings.
And sometimes it's about recognizing that we need to step away from a situation altogether to give ourselves time to cool down and regain our composure.
It's about choosing self-awareness over reactivity and choosing to respond rather than react.
Which brings us to our final rule for better living:
Right.
take responsibility. Yeah, this rule feels like it ties everything together.
Yeah.
It's about acknowledging our own agency and recognizing that we have the power to choose
Yeah.
how we respond to life's challenges.
It's about moving from a place of blame and victimhood
Right.
to a place of empowerment and ownership.
Exactly.
When we take responsibility for our actions,
Yeah.
we also take responsibility for our lives.
Right.
We become the authors of our own stories rather than passive characters in someone else's narrative.
It's so easy to fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances or other people for our problems.
Totally.
But the source material argues that this only keeps us stuck in
Yeah.
a cycle of negativity.
When we blame others, we give away our power. We relinquish control over our own lives
Right.
and become prisoners of our circumstances.
But when we take responsibility,
Yeah.
we step into our power. Right.
We acknowledge that we have choices, even in the face of adversity.
It's about recognizing that even though we can't always control what happens to us,
Right.
we can always control how we respond.
Absolutely.
We can choose to react with anger, resentment, and blame,
Yeah.
or we can choose to respond with compassion,
Right.
understanding, and a willingness to learn from our experiences.
It's about shifting from a mindset of, why is this happening to me,
Yeah.
to what can I learn from this?
It's about seeing challenges as opportunities for growth and transformation, rather than as obstacles to our happiness.
Absolutely.
Wow, these 10 rules have really given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
It's amazing how such simple principles can be so profound and impactful.
They offer a framework
Yeah.
for living a more intentional and fulfilling life.
Right.
A life that's grounded in self-awareness, compassion, and personal responsibility.
These rules aren't just about improving our own lives either.
They're about creating a ripple effect of positivity
Yeah.
that extends outward to our relationships, our communities, and the world around us.
When we choose to live with intention and integrity,
Yeah.
we inspire others to do the same.
Right.
We create a world that's more compassionate, more just, and more harmonious.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I'd like to pose a question to you, our listener.
All right.
Which rule resonated with you the most?
Yeah.
What's one small step you can take today to put this wisdom into action?
Remember, even small changes can have a big impact over time. The
Mhm.
journey of personal growth is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
So be patient with yourself,
Yeah.
celebrate your progress,
Mhm.
and keep striving to become the best version of yourself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the 10 rules for better living.
It was my pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, it's so important.
This is really where the rubber meets the road, right?
It is.
It's putting these principles into practice.
Right. And it can be challenging,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
but it's so rewarding.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the 10 rules for better living.
It's been a great conversation.
It has. It really has. And, I'm already feeling inspired to make some changes in my own life.
Me too.
So to our listeners out there, we encourage you to revisit these rules.
Yeah.
Reflect on them. See which ones resonate with you the most.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
take action.
Yes. Even small steps can lead to big changes over time.
Absolutely.
But until next time, keep diving deep, keep seeking wisdom, and keep striving to live your best life.
See you next time.
Bye.